and it's an honor to be here. Thank you for reading my profile. So today I'll be speaking on the topic, navigating sudden singleness and remarrying. And just to lay a background before I go into the topic, I've been widowed for 6 years now. And so I'll just give us a brief background to how, what led and how I became a widow, and then we'll take it up from there. So I was married in 2009 to my friend of 10 years before then, and we're blessed. We are blessed with 2 children, and just like every other marriage, we've had our ups and downs. And then 2018 was when everything changed. So I was home on a Saturday, normal Saturday, about this time, I think. I had an event to attend by 12 noon, and I needed to go for the event. I needed to use the car. My husband went to the mechanics, came back and handed the car to me. I left for the event. We were chatting. He was checking up and asking how the event, 3 o'clock or so, yeah, past 3. I sent a message and he didn't read it. So I just assumed that he was asleep. I got home around past 6 and found him dead. In our room, in our bathroom. And that was how it's been a journey. There's been a lot of lessons. There's been a lot of tough times. There's been a lot of down days. And so far, here we are. And in the course of this journey, I documented this whole journey from when, I met my husband and got married, and the whole journey till when
I guess the networks,
and also, the
Mrs. Dorothy, please, you have to, I think the network at some point, you have to, it was frozen at some point. Do you want to take us a bit back? Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Please hold on. Is it clearer now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's good. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know. Where did you lose me? Or should I just continue?
Okay, just continue. Just continue. So, the story is so interesting, and I'm sure that the people don't want to miss any part of it. That was why when it was frozen, I felt it's important to bring you back. But again, just continue. We'll see if people can take the question and ask.
Okay. So as I was saying, so I wrote a book, my first book. It's titled "We Say Their Name," because I wanted to, share my story with people that are going through this, and also with people that feel that they're all alone on this journey to widowhood. And then my children were young. My daughter was 6 and my son was 4. And I felt that this is a way to capture, everything I was experiencing for them, so that as they get older, they'll be able to get the full story, because in case of the memory and I forget. So that's the long and short of the of my journey. So today I want to talk about navigating sudden singleness and remarrying. So in total, I had known my husband for 19 years, and we had plans for the future, for our children. You know, we had so many plans. We were already planning our 10th year anniversary, which was supposed to be the following year, but we never got to 10. We never saw 10. We had clocked our 9th year marriage anniversary in October, and he passed in November. So there were a lot of plans that just did not come to be. So imagine just going out, coming back, and then all of a sudden you're just a widow. It was really, really tough. It was a confusing moment. It was a time where it just felt blank. It felt bleak. It felt like there is nothing else to look forward to. There is nothing else exciting. There is nothing to motivate me, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle because most of what I was feeling were new. Most of the emotions, you know, imagine moving from having your friend, your partner, the father of your children, where you could, you know, exchange ideas, you could gist, watch movies, and do so many other things together. And then all of a sudden, you're alone. It's just you. And so the loss of that companionship, most times when I, you know, talk with people or in therapy, I tell people that while the death of your spouse or your partner is there and it's quite painful and, you know, destabilizing, there are other losses that come with it that most times people don't notice or acknowledge, except you that is in that grief. So one of the things that came up for me was, you know, that loss of companionship. There was loneliness. Then I was now a single or solo parent. Oh, it's not clear. Okay, people are saying they can't hear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I guess it's from the network. And I also want to think maybe this will be the response of the previous, that's my thought, the previous, I want to assume, loud and clear, if you persons
Okay,
can
thank
get
you
to us.
very much.
Yes.
I can see that. Thank you very much. You know, so it came with a lot of stress. We moved from having the income from both I and my husband to I just being the only person bringing in the income. The children still had to go to school. We had to feed. We had so many responsibilities and bills. And it was like I was just thrown in one big sea of confusion and all that. So it came with a lot of challenges. I had a lot of support. I had a lot of, you know, my family, my friends, my colleagues. I had people, you know, that would show up, checking on me, checking on the children. Sometimes just, you know, take the children off my hands for a while just so that I can breathe. So you cannot underestimate the effect and impact of having a very strong support system when you're going through grief. Because nobody prays or plans to lose their spouse, you know. And like I said, most times when we say till death do us part, I don't think any of us is seeing it from an early angle. I don't think any of us is seeing that, okay, in 8 years, in 4 years, till death do us part. Most times when we say till death do us part, we're looking at 90, 100, the children are grown, we're grandparents, they've moved out of the house, you know, we've retired, and we're just waiting for God to call us home. My husband died at 44, and That was not the plan. He was rising in his career, and our children were still in primary school. So support systems, don't neglect your support systems. And sometimes it's not that the support system is not there, but sometimes we are not even open to receiving support. So sometimes people want to support us, people want to show up for us, but we're closed to that idea, maybe because we feel that this pain is mine and mine alone. This pain is personal. This pain is, nobody will understand. So I don't even want anybody in this space. So we become very closed off and protective of our space and everything, thereby not allowing other people to show up for us and support us in the way that we need to be supported. Grief itself is isolating, because sometimes people just feel you're grieving too much, it's too long, you're still talking about it. Like I said, this year makes it 6 years. I still talk about him. I still celebrate or mark, our anniversary, his birthday, the memorial, like any date. I just make sure that I do something to commemorate that day, and not because I'm stuck in the past, but because this was a whole human being, a full human being that lived for 44 years. So it's not a kid that got missing,
Your network seems to have frozen again, ma'am.
or associated memories with people, and then hello, am I back?
Yes, you are back now, please. You're back now.
Okay.
You are back. You are back.
Let me just switch network so that I'll see if this will be better. Just English. Okay, let me see if this network will be better. I've switched network. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's good. Let's see
if this will be better. It's the network. So another thing is, most times we give like a timeline for grief. So sometimes we say that in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, it should be fine. I should be okay. I will not be crying again. But like the first speaker said, I think she said this is 14 years, and she still cried on the date or the anniversary of the memorial. So grief is a journey. It's not a destination. Grief is an ongoing process. And it's not a straight road. It's not linear. It's not, okay, I've finished crying for this phase. Now, after now, I will not cry about this matter again. I remember a friend asking me, what was the event? I'm trying to remember, but something came up for me and I became quite emotional, and she was shocked that I was still, and I told her, I said, things will always come up to remind you of the person that died. I have 2 children with this man. They were still in primary school, still small, there were things we were looking forward to. So like when my daughter was leaving primary school to secondary school, it was an emotional moment for me because it was a future that we had hoped to see together with her dad, but her dad is not here to see it. I remember the first promotion I got after Yakubu died. I cried because I didn't really have my own person to share it with. So I called my parents, called my siblings, called some friends, like, hey, the promotion is out, I got it and all that. But it's not the same because your person, that's your 5 and 6. I know that if he was around and, I had told him about that promotion, his own excitement would have been different because there were, dreams and other things that we had shared and looked forward to. So at every stage in your life, 20 years from now, your child is getting married. You will remember that spouse that died and wish that, oh, if only they were here to see them grow up into these adults, this individual. When they go into university, their matric, their convocation, when they have their first child, that's your grandchild. So many other things would remind you of the person that died years ago. So I just want to encourage someone here that it's grief is okay, grief is normal, and grief is natural. You're not doing anything wrong. There is no wrong or right way of grieving. There is just your own way of grieving. Don't let anybody try to dictate to you how to grieve. They're not the ones in your shoes. They're not the ones that know and understand what you're going through. So even when you feel like, oh, I just want to cry, I just want to shout, I want to write, I want to talk about that person, it's okay. It's okay. If you want to, so for some people, because of the stereotype of grief, people that are in grief, especially widows, because of the part of the world that we're in, people will try to dictate how you dress, where you go, what you do, what you should not do. So anything outside that seems like you're breaking one law, seems like, this woman, you are not grieving enough. It's like you did not love that man or you're not missing him. I remember, one day that I got dressed after a while of just feeling like, what's the point? And someone now said to me that since there's a man in your life, this was months, after Yakubu died. And she said that to me. And I was like, why did you say that? She said, that you started wearing colorful clothes. You even did makeup and made your hair. And I was like, oh, wow. So I can't look good for me. I have to look good for a man first. So there has to be a reason why I want to look and feel good. And I just laughed. And I think for me, over the years, I've learned that people speak or just say or do things from their level of knowledge about your experience or about anything. So, I didn't take offense at that because I just felt, well, I wish you knew better, but it's okay. I don't have to keep explaining myself to you. So sometimes as widows, and I'm saying widows because one, I'm one, and then secondly, because the truth is, our culture is kinder to the widower than the widow. And that's just the truth. Nobody tells a man, why are you dressed like this? Where are you going to? A man can lose his wife today, and tomorrow he can drive out, he can take a journey, he can marry, and everybody will make excuses for him and say, yes, he needs somebody to take care of the children. A man cannot be alone and all that. But when it comes to widows, there are so many rules, laws, customs, and everybody's eyes on you, and everybody just looking at you like, this one that said she loved her husband. Okay, let's see. So, which brings me to the topic of remarrying. To remarry after the death of your spouse it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. There is no timeline for it. There is no, like manual. Okay, after this stage, after this stage, after this stage, and then now you're not married. No, there's nothing like that. It's when you feel and you decide that, okay, I'm up to it. I've healed, or I'm healing in a healthy way that will not affect. Because what happens is, if you have not worked on yourself and healed some of your trauma, or gone through the process, you might now transfer some of that pain and expectations to this new union. There might now be comparisons between this new spouse and the one that died. Oh, my late husband used to treat me like this. This one doesn't treat me like this. That means he doesn't love me. My late husband used to do all these things for me. This one is not doing up to that. Of course, friction, problems, and all that will come up. But when you now go through your pain, you sit with your pain. You don't try to avoid it. You don't try to run away from it. Because sometimes when we're in the pain of grief, we just feel like, let me cover this pain and just keep it aside. I'm okay. Let me pretend, if I pretend enough, fake it till you make it, then I'll be all right. But it doesn't work that way. Pain, grief needs to be felt. And I shared with someone of recent, and I said, we're afraid to sit with our pain because we feel it will end us, it will drown us, it will overwhelm us. But it's in sitting with our pain that we heal. So when we sit in our pain, in grief, and like it's like a puzzle, or a basket of laundry, and you want to wash, and you now start separating whites, colored, black, this one, unpack it and unpack all that you're experiencing. Because most times it's not just the pain of that death. There's also the pain of how people treated you, what people said to you, the condition of your union before your partner died, what other people are expecting from you. So sometimes there might be unforgiveness, there might be, anger. There is a lot of anger in grief. There is a lot of regret. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of, so there are so many emotions that need to be unpacked to set you on your healing journey. So sometimes some people see grief as a wound that, okay, once it just closes, it just heals, I'm fully healed. One thing about grief is that it changes you from the core of who you are. It changes your thoughts, it changes your feelings, it changes what you say, it changes everything. Your sleeping pattern, your eating pattern, everything changes about you in grief. Because life as you knew it then is not the life that you're living now. The life I knew then, where school is resuming Monday, all I know is I need money to go and buy juice and biscuits and pencil and crayon. How the school fees is paid, we thank God. Like, it wasn't a conscious thing that I have to go and hustle for school fees. I have to go and hustle for house rent. I have to now, hey, this bag of rice is almost finished. Where will I see the next one? Food was provided. And then all of a sudden, you're now the one thinking it, doing it, spending, trying to make sure that everything is in order. About some few years ago, So someone had asked me initially, you know, are you going to remarry? And I said, well, I don't know. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, well, it's okay. I'm not actively seeking another partner. And another person, you know, told me, Hope, I'm not being too choosy. You know, men are scarce, men are hard, men are this, men are that. And I told the person, I said, well, that's your opinion, but I believe that I have earned the right to be choosy. I said, I've gone through this. I have 9 years experience in marriage. It's like, how much is, how long is a degree in the university? 4 years. So this one is plus masters. I'm even doing PhD on top, 9 years. You know, I have 2 beautiful children. I have a job. I'm not depending on a man to come and feed me and my children. We're not a charity case. So any man that is coming is the one that will now prove to me like, okay, what are you bringing to the table that will make me want to pack this, my precious package, and share it with you, you know, and all that. And that person left and never came back. That person left and never came back. So while it wasn't a conscious effort or decision on my part, I wasn't closed off to it. And for me personally, one of the reasons I wasn't closed off to it wasn't even because people kept saying, oh, you're young, you should remarry. And I was like, leave that thing. It wasn't even about the age, but the fact that I believed that there was more I could do and I could give, that if and when God brings a partner my way, together, we will do much more. There is that part of wanting a companion, because like I said at the beginning, grief is lonely. Widowhood is lonely. The death of a spouse is very, very lonely. It's a lonely path, and you are the only one on that path. So when God brings someone your way, the life partner, someone that is like an answered prayer for you, be open to receiving it if and when you're ready. If you're not ready, if you're not interested, it's okay. I have never, I can say that confidently, that I have never said it that, God forbid, after Yakubu's death, God forbid, I will never marry again. I never said that. And I tell people there is power in the tongue. You might say it now because you're in your pain. But years down the line, you might now want to be open to it, forgetting that you have been doing God forbid, for who God has kept you. I told people, because a lot of people felt that because of how close I was with Yakubu, that this woman, she will just die. She will, you know. So when they came to see me, and everyone was like, oh, she's still here. I would even tell you the story of how everything happened, you know, when you come to visit. And one of the things I know I kept telling people was, I did not die because it wasn't yet my time. God created Yakubu, then created Dorothy, brought us together as man and wife. But that did not mean that everything of ours was going to start and end at the same time. Yakubu had fulfilled his purpose, all that God called him to do, and God called him home. God spared me, because if I was meant to go with him, I would have maybe found his body and just collapsed, and then the two of us. But God said, no, it's not yet your time. I still have plans for you. So who am I to now tell God, these plans that you have, I'm not interested in being a participant. I want to live my own life the way I want it. I don't want to ever smile again. I don't want to ever live life again. I just want, since you did not kill me in the physical, I will kill myself in my mind, emotionally, everything about me. I will not grow. I will not live. I didn't create myself. I don't know when I'm going to die. But as long as I'm alive, I will live. no matter how painful the step is, each step, it's not easy. It's not easy for someone that has buried a partner, a spouse, to say, I want to go down this route again. I want to try this again. I want to do this again. It's not an easy thing. You know, other people, sometimes people see me and just feel, oh, it's a good, it was an easy decision. And then some people just see and like, oh, you're strong. And I tell people that it wasn't like I had a choice. It was the hand that life dealt me, and I just did with it what I felt was the best. And, with the help of God, and just going through it all the time. And that is how it started out as a learning process. What started out as I actually reached him because I needed help. Because of the stress and, the pressures of suddenly being a single parent, a solo mom, I became an angry mother. I was always screaming at my kids. I was experience and memory that I wanted my children to grow up with. So I sought help. In emotional intelligence. I sought help in anger management, sought help in mental health. Like, I just went all out, like, I need help. I don't know what to do. And that was how this journey started. It started just as friends. And, over the years, we found out that our values aligned and we had so much more in common than not. And we just allowed it to grow organically. And April 2024, I remarried 6 years after the death of Yakubu. And I got married to an amazing man. He gives me peace. He gives me peace. He makes me happy. 6 years ago, I wouldn't have been saying this. I wouldn't even have been saying there will be any other man that can make me happy. But I'm here today and I'm saying it, and I'm yes, so I'm getting to that. And it hasn't been easy. It's not like it was just a, ball in the park or anything, but we're here. We're here in it. So to answer Mfon's message, yes, he does. He was married before that marriage did not work out. He has 2 amazing girls. So now I'm a mother of 4, 3 girls and a boy. And we've been trying to live a blended life, navigating it. This is the first time both of us are here. This is the first time for the children too. My children, sisters, my son now has 3 sisters. They also now have a brother, and he has lots of experience. I won't say I prayed for it. Thank you very much, Mfon. I won't say I prayed for it, but like I said earlier, I wasn't closed off to the idea. So I was open to it. I wasn't like searching for it or waiting or acting desperate. I was just living my life. So I can tell you that just do you. Live your life. Do what you need to do. Get that qualification. Travel. Go back to school. All what you have ever dreamt of. The purpose that God has laid in your heart. Pursue it. Go on it. If there is a man that God has said will be on that path, that man will meet you there. You don't have to go and become who you're not. On grade now, Nobody wants somebody that's already giving birth to children. And they want fresh blood. They want this, they want that. I've seen women in their 50s, 60s. Some never been married and got married for the first time at that age. Some have been married, I've seen a woman that has buried 2 husbands and she's married to the 3rd one now. So don't allow anybody make you feel like you just have to settle. You just have to manage. Your life is not for managing. You're meant to blossom. You're meant to bloom. You're meant to shine your light. Any man that is intimidated by that light that you're shining, or any woman, for the widowers, any woman that is intimidated by that light that you're shining is not the person that is meant for you. The person that is meant for you will meet you where you are and accept you fully and wholly without trying to change you. People ask that, okay, so how does he feel or manage me marking, those anniversaries and those dates of my late husband? And I tell people that God has blessed me with a secured man. He's not competing with any dead man. He knows that this Dorothy that is here is because of my experience. It's because of the life I had lived when Yakubu was alive to when he died till now. That is what makes me who I am right now. We are learning as we're growing in this process. And, someone had asked us, and I told her, I said, maybe if he had met me, then he would even like me. He would even like me because life's experiences will shape you. And that is what happened. It shaped me into who I am today, who I am, and the person he met and liked and fell in love with. I didn't have to change myself. I didn't have to pretend to be someone else. Sometimes someone will come and meet a widow and he'll tell her, these children, you have to send them to your mother. Me, I cannot. No, sir. These children are part of the package. They are the package. They are the icing. You have to cut through it before you get to the cake. If you're accepting me, you're accepting the whole of me. My past, my flaws, my children, my experiences, everything is a full package. And it goes the other way too. I had to also accept the whole of him and everything that he came with as a package. There is no need to say, oh, Yakubu used to do this, or you're not doing it right. The only time you even ever hear it is the day, I noticed that he was also a southpaw. Then I started laughing. And I'll say, Yakubu was a southpaw. You're also a southpaw. That's a lefty. People say there's an attraction to southpaws. So things like this, I could share it. When I was married before, it's not like that. No, I had to heal that part of myself. And I'm sure for anybody that is here and is married, that marriages are not easy. They are not rosy. So I won't say that that's another thing that we do in grief. We give, nothing was ever amiss. So even when we talk about them, we don't want to talk about the fights we had, the times they annoyed us, the times they dropped the ball, or they didn't do what was expected. To only highlight their good part, because I don't know if it's because they say don't say ill of the dead. But he wasn't a saint. I wasn't a saint then. I'm not a saint now. I have my own plenty wahala. But I've also found someone who also found me, and I like her like that. Leave her for me. So for anybody here that is either thinking of remarrying, but you're now saying, what will people say? See, I got married this year, 6 years later. Some people still said it was too soon. Some people said they thought I'll leave the children to finish university first. It was too soon. There will always be somebody that wants to decide or determine how you do your things and how you live your life. Just choose you. Every day, choose you. Choose you in such a way that you know that at this time, I believe that this thing is good for me, whatever it is. Like I said, you want to pursue a career, you want to change jobs, you want to further your education, you want to travel, whatever you want to do. Do it for you, choose you, and just always be there for you. If remarrying is on your path, it will come to you. You don't have to go searching. I'm sure I've overshot my time. Sorry about that. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you for having me.
My goodness, that was such I was seated here just listening to you, and it comes with, it's just here and there, but the bottom line is to see at the end of the day, to see how you've evolved, and now your life could actually be a lesson to a whole lot of people here. I mean, thank you so very much. Very inspiring story. At the same time, so many lessons to glean from. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. We've had quite a wonderful time discussing this morning, both from Mrs. Yesufu and also from Mrs. Beatrice and from Mrs. Beatrice herself. Sorry, that's Mrs. Beatrice and Mrs. Dorothy, sorry.